This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to explain why an unwritten intent is unenforceable and why an ambiguous policy's language forces an insurer to pay losses it did not intend to cover and was therefore hoist on its own petard or patibulated in its own gibbet. Insurers often complain that insureds do not read the insurance policy and compel them to fulfill all policy terms or receive nothing. In my experience, almost no one reads an insurance policy until there is a dispute over a claim. In Michigan, an insurer did not read the policy it issued. In a case called Village of Kalkaska versus Michigan Municipal League Liability and Property Pool, a August 31, 2023 decision of the Court of Appeals of Michigan, a policy was issued to the village that provided, by fairly clear language, coverage the insurer did not intend to provide, and as a result found itself obligated to pay claims for millions of dollars. Michigan Municipal League Liability and Property Pool appealed the trial court's order denying its motion for summary disposition, claiming that its intent was to exclude coverage for the losses claimed by the village. In 1996, the plaintiff, Village of Kalkaska, contracted with certain of its employees to provide lifetime retirement health benefits. In 2014, plaintiff determined the obligation to provide lifetime retirement health benefits to the employees was prohibitively expensive and therefore adopted a resolution ending its agreement to pay the employees lifetime retirement health benefits. 4 of the affected employees sued, seeking an order that it had been the victims of the village's breach of contract. In one of the lawsuits, a jury awarded the employee present and future damages. Plaintiff thereafter settled the lawsuits with the other 3 employees for present and future damages. Plaintiff asserts that thus far the cost of resolving the lawsuits is nearly $2 million. Defendant is a non-profit self-insurance pool owned and governed by its members that provides liability insurance to numerous Michigan municipalities. The policy provided plaintiff with various types of coverage, including coverage for liability in the administration of its employee benefits programs. Defendant moved for summary judgment on the basis that the policy does not provide coverage for plaintiff's intentional breach of its contract with its employees, a rather normal kind of thing in an insurance policy. However, an insurance policy provision is only valid if it is clear, unambiguous, and not in contravention to public policy. If a contract does not violate the law or a traditional defense to enforceability, a court is required to apply the unambiguous provisions of the contract as written, because an unambiguous contract reflects the intent of the parties as a matter of law. The trial court first determined that the policy provided coverage, but then concluded that the ambiguity in the policy necessitated submitting the matter to the jury. The trial court concluded that because the question was a close one, a genuine issue of material fact existed whether the village was engaged in the administration of a benefits program when it terminated the employee's lifetime retirement health benefits. Since a decision to terminate an employee benefit plan may qualify as a negligent act, an error, or omission which causes a termination or cancellation of an employee under an employee benefit plan, the court noted that the defendant made a strong argument that the wholesale termination may not be as comparable to administering under the plan. Nothing within the contract of insurance that had been drafted by the defendant appears to allow for the distinction, even if it's a good argument, because it simply says, quote, effecting enrollment, termination, or cancellation of employees, close quote. The trial court concluded that no exclusion from coverage applied, but because it was a close question, it was therefore ambiguous and should be left to the jury. Defendant contended that regardless of the policy language, it obviously did not intend to assume any and all contractual liabilities upon which plaintiff chooses to intentionally default. Defendant argued that it did not agree to pay plaintiff's contractual obligations, but only to pay damages arising from plaintiff's wrongful acts in administering its employee benefits program, that is, damages arising from plaintiff's breach of its contract obligations under its employee benefits program. The claim in this case allows the plaintiff intentionally to shift its contractual obligation to the defendant insurer. By so doing, it provides an unreasonable result not intended by the defendant. But the intent of the parties is determined by the unambiguous policy language as a matter of law, and a court may not fail to enforce a contract on the basis of reasonableness. Therefore, the trial court erred by finding an issue of material fact for the jury. The trial court should have found that the policy provides coverage and granted summary disposition for the plaintiff, and the Court of Appeals reversed and remanded the case to the trial court for entry of judgment in favor of the village, the plaintiff. In my opinion, the greatest sin that an insurer can commit is to write an insurance policy that is ambiguous and that, as a result, provides coverage it did not intend. In this case, because of the weakness of the policy language, the insurer found itself obligated to pay for a run-of-the-mill breach of contract, something no insurance company would intentionally cover. Insurers who usually insist on its insureds reading the policy as issued should not complain when they fail to read the policy they delivered to the insured in a manner understandable and unambiguous. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. And if you do, you can easily subscribe to the blog and you will receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week, and access to the more than 4,600 blog posts. You can also subscribe to these videos on rumble.com and youtube.com, and if you do, please click on the thumbs up button on rumble.com and the like button on YouTube. Please also tell your friends and colleagues about this blog and the videos and let them also subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance law, insurance coverage, and insurance fraud and claims handling, please consider subscribing for a very small fee to my Locals community or my Substack publications. Thank you for your attention.